The birthday party. In the peaceful village of Rampur, surrounded by vast mustard fields and narrow, muddy lanes, lived a resilient woman named Kamla Devi. She was around 38, a widow for the past 6 years, and a mother of two, her 10-year-old daughter Neha and 6-year-old son Ravi. After the sudden death of her husband in a farming accident, Kamla's world changed. With no steady income and 2 young children to raise, she had to become both mother and father overnight. She worked tirelessly in the fields, stitched clothes for villagers in the evenings, and sometimes cleaned utensils in the local school to earn a few extra coins. Life was not easy, but Kamla never complained. She had a quiet strength in her eyes that inspired the women around her. Despite her hardships, Kamla's heart was full of love and dreams, mostly for her children. She had always taught Neha and Ravi to be honest, kind, and grateful for small things. As Neha's 10th birthday approached, Kamla noticed a spark in her daughter's eyes. "Ma," Neha whispered one night as they lay under the mosquito net. "Will I ever have a birthday party like the ones we hear about in school?" Kamla smiled and brushed her hair gently. "Maybe," she said softly, already making plans in her heart. She had no savings, no money for balloons, gifts, or cake, but she had determination. She decided to host a simple, handmade birthday party, a gift from her heart, stitched with love and supported by her sisters in the village. The planning begins. Kamla started with what she had. She looked through her leftover stitching cloth and found bright, colorful pieces from old orders. Over the next few nights, after putting her children to bed, she stitched those scraps into a beautiful patchwork dress for Neha. It took her 3 nights, but the result was charming. She then told her closest friends in the village, Radha, a Hindu widow who worked as a vegetable seller, Meena, a cheerful young woman recently married into the village, and Shanti Amma, an elder who had seen all seasons of life. Kamla was hesitant at first, fearing judgment, but when she shared her idea, they reacted with joy. "This is a wonderful idea, Kamla," Meena said. "Why didn't you tell us earlier? We'll all help." Radha offered to bring fresh marigolds for decorations. Meena promised to cook sweet poha and lemon sherbet. Shanti Amma said she would bring some milk and sugar enough to make a small batch of kheer. Even the village girls offered to help make paper garlands and clean the courtyard. In the days leading up to the birthday, Kamla's home turned into a place of excitement and activity. Women gathered every evening to fold paper, string flowers, and share laughter. The spirit of sisterhood filled the air. The special day, on the morning of Neha's birthday, the courtyard outside Kamla's modest hut was buzzing with energy. The ground was swept clean. Fresh rangoli drawn with rice flour adorned the entrance, and mud lamps lined the corners. Neha woke up to the smell of sweet kheer and the sound of women laughing. When she came out wearing her patchwork dress, everyone clapped and smiled. Kamla had braided her hair with ribbons and put a tiny bindi on her forehead. The children from the village gathered, each bringing a small gift, a drawing, a flower, a handmade bracelet. One even gifted Neha a guava from his backyard tree. The gifts were small but filled with love. The women sang folk songs, clapped to the beat, and watched with joy as the children played games. There were no fancy decorations, no music system, no photographer, but there was joy, and that was enough. Kamla had baked a simple cake made of wheat, flour, jaggery, and ghee, decorated with tiny cloves and almonds. She lit a small candle on top. Neha closed her eyes, made a wish, and blew it out as everyone cheered. A celebration of hearts. Later that evening, as the sky turned orange and the village animals returned to their homes, Kamla sat under the banyan tree with the other women. The kids played nearby, full from sweets and stories. Kamla, Shantiyama said gently, you've reminded us that happiness doesn't come from money, but from sharing what we have, Radha added. For years, we women have been living in our own corners, working hard, worrying about our homes. But today, we laughed, sang, and created something together. I feel alive. Meena smiled and said, we should do this again, not just for birthdays, but for anything worth celebrating. Kamla looked around. Her eyes welled up with tears, not from sadness, but from gratitude. She had feared she couldn't give her daughter a birthday to remember, but instead, she had created a day that brought the entire village together. From that day forward, the women of Rampur made a promise to celebrate each other, support one another, and lift each other up. They began organizing monthly gatherings for birthdays, new births, even small successes like a child doing well in school or a woman starting a new skill. They called it Saheli Milan, a gathering of sisters. A legacy of love. Neha's birthday became the beginning of something beautiful. The story of her patchwork dress and jaggery cake spread beyond Rampur. Other villages started adopting the idea of simple celebrations where women came together to support and uplift each other with whatever little they had. Moral of the story: happiness does not need wealth. True joy comes from unity, love, and kindness. When women support each other, even the smallest celebration becomes unforgettable.